Right now, there are 23.5 million Americans, including 6.5 million children, who live in what we call food deserts. These are places and communities that don't have a supermarket. This is true in the inner city and in rural communities. This is happening all across the country.
In general, a food desert is an area that is more than a mile away from a grocery store. And what you have in food deserts are processed options. So there's no fresh food, there's no kale, there's no grocery store that's stocked with bananas and apples and cucumbers and all the things that we think of when we walk into our grocery stores, our chain large grocery stores. If you're in Florida or the Southeast, you might have a Publix or a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods. Those are not available in a food desert.
Asha Walker is the CEO of Health in the Hood, which is an urban farm and a food distributing healthy food for the community. She's also a TED speaker where she talks about sustainability and wellness. She talks about what are the problems when it comes to food desert in a place like Overtown. Overtown is a place known for its strong and rich Black cultural history. In 1960s, two express were constructed through the middle of the community. In less than a decade, the fragmented neighborhood saw its population shrink from over 30,000 to less than 10,000. Businesses closed, poverty climbed. In Overtown, people don't have good access to healthy food sources because a place like Overtown has a really low access to supermarkets that are selling healthy food options.
Specifically in Overtown, we've done work there for almost 2 decades, but it's definitely a community that is disconnected from resources. It is a high crime rate community. And I think one of the biggest issues about Overtown is what I always say is that it's very concentrated. So in Liberty City, it's a little more sprawling, even though you've got a lot of violence in both communities. But I think why you feel it even more in Overtown is because it is smaller, and the more gentrified the community becomes, the more tight those community boundaries become.
The business is going well through the pandemic. We've been seeing a little bit increases in food prices, but just due to the overall popularity of the restaurant, we've still been able to accommodate for those prices. Being as though this is a food desert, we kind of do seem it's hard to get like delivery, DoorDash, Uber Eats to come over here. The food desert in itself, it's a challenge because like I said, you tend to not have people look for food in this area. However, because we have been a staple in the community, we've been kind of able to overcome that obstacle. We do still find it difficult, like I said, to get Uber Eats and delivery drivers to come to the area just because it's not popular.
We need more restaurants, because on this corner here, you only got what? 1, down there by the park, 2, then Red Rooster, 3, for this whole area. And then you got a little restaurant down the street by the I-95. That's it. Need more fine dining that sell healthy food to the people, not all that grease, everything else. Healthy food, organic food, for vegetarians, everything.
Margarita Ornelas lives near Overtown. After the pandemic, she lost her job and didn't have much money to afford high-quality food.
Even though you have a job, the salary is not enough. It's just few hours. It doesn't feel the expensive that you have, and it's not that you have a big. I went all the way down to I don't have cable TV. I just have the internet I need in my house, light, rent. The basic expensive, the telephone, but with a few hours because sometimes you don't get the full.
So Margarita really appreciates food distribution events, especially those being held in Overtown areas.
FarmShare is a food bank. Essentially what we do is we take food that's donated to us or allocated from the government, the USDA, and we go to the communities and we give out the food for free. We partner with a lot of different organizations, governments, city officials, police departments, organizations as such, and they host the distributions, and we provide them the food and the logistics, and they provide the manpower, via volunteers, and the resources like tents and tables and things like that.
I think the solution would be to invest more into restaurants, yes, but invest more in development, period. Like there's a lot of underdeveloped areas that can be utilized for restaurants, bars, and things of that nature to be able to serve the industry.
However, if that can solve the problem, why people are not investing their money in Overtown?
You know, what I always say is follow the money, right? So if there is not economic flux that would bring a major chain grocer into a community that is marginalized, has a lower income rate, that, you know, there's algorithms that corporations use to determine where grocery stores should go, where they have a large population of people that are in their income bracket, where their target markets are. And oftentimes, all the time, these communities, if you're in a food desert, they're overlooked. So I always say that your zip code can have a greater effect on your health than your genetic code.
It's not always just what is available, it's where your zip code puts you. Do we think Overtown, being a food desert community, needs more healthy restaurants?